Hold on tight for the next hour. You're entering into a place, a zone called the alternative to the alternative media. It's a place, a special place where even truth seekers fear to tread.
All right, people, let's move like we've got a purpose. Affirmative.
Okay, boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen, people of all races, colors, and creeds, welcome back to the greatest show on earth. Yes, the greatest show on earth. Greg Anthony here on his investigative journal. Wow, what a scene. Masonic symbolism was found all over the murder scene. That's George Floyd. You know his name. And 666 was painted on the garbage can nearby. Boy, I got to go read about that. Or no, it's a YouTube. Let me click on that. Let me see what it says. Here we go. This show is better than wanting to read or look at YouTube or read that story, than clicking on it, and then seeing this. This video has been removed for violating YouTube's policy on hate speech. Learn more about combating hate speech in your country. Yeah, anything that goes against the government plan here, right? That's what's going on, folks. Why do we even do these broadcasts anymore? If you don't say the right thing on your little intro, they'll take it down. I don't know if they listen to the whole thing. But anyway, what's so bad about Masonic symbolism and all these 666 painted on garbage cans and probably on a license plate nearby? What's so, bad about that? Well, they don't want you to know they're Satanists. It's that simple. Folks, Greg Anthony here. This show is, of course, the best show in radio, and I've been thinking about this. I'm enjoying this next part of this TV reality show. Season 2 is in full swing now. And they met this morning. This is inside Georgetown. We go inside the belly of the beast, inside Georgetown University. People don't know that Georgetown is very important to the New World Order, or shall we say the Old World Order's plan to destroy this country. And to me, it's kind of enjoyable to watch. I mean, what else can we do? We do the same thing over and over again in the alternative media. We, for example, report on COVID-19 and say it's covert 1984, and then we get everything taken down from YouTube that doesn't go with their policy now. And then the mainstream says it's all conspiracy theories. They start spouting this kind of truth that really is stranger than fiction because it doesn't have any possibilities. If you look at COVID-19, there were no possibilities. What they were saying was even possible of being truthful. Fiction has more possibilities, but people believe it. That's the problem. There's only a small group of people that believe in conspiracy theories because we've studied them. So why don't we wear it as a badge of honor? We're conspiracy theorists in the eyes of most people. But the problem is, this is like deja vu all over again 100 million times. Are we back in 2001? The same thing happened in 9/11, and we got the same result. More people believed them. And now, again, we've had false flags after false flags. I mean, Sandy Hook is an example. I can name probably 10. But where does it go? In one ear and out the other of most people in America. So I've taken the view that it's fun to watch all this stuff. Yeah, I mean, you got to have some enjoyment. Knowing it's a TV reality show, it's better than the Kardashians, right? It's better than watching Home Improvement or any of these shows, because this one's really, a little bit of bloodshed here, a little bit of bottle throwing there, and then we have the typical left-right paradigm. And if you're still stuck in it, stuck in the left-right paradigm, you better wake up. I did a show yesterday on the Hegelian dialectic. Please go to it. Because if you get out of it, you can enjoy these things like me. Yeah. I mean, what's the sense of ever thinking we're going to win this thing? No. We can't win it this way because we can speak till the cows come home, and this stuff will get censored, and then basically only preaching to the choir. The good old choir. Every day, that's all we do. We preach to the choir. And it goes on and on and on. So I've taken great enjoyment in watching all the sheeple run around with their masks. It's fun to watch. You know, you turn on the TV and you got these news broadcasters with their masks on. Then you got some that aren't wearing their masks. And it's really confusing. Because yesterday I watched Fox News for all of 3 seconds, and the Leland Vitter, who was at Washington, D.C. protests, didn't have his mask on. So I said he's violating the stay-at-home order. He should be arrested. Then I was watching the protesters in probably every American city, you know, being bussed in by George Soros and his group. You know, good for them. They've organized. They got a lot of organizations trying to bring about the Jesuit New World Order. Thank God for them. You know what? That's what American people deserve. Yes, you deserve it. If we've gotten this far and we haven't done anything, and we elect these people over and over again, it's the same thing. It's insanity. It's doing the same thing over and over again, expecting a different result. And we're not going to get it. It's that simple, and I hate to sound negative, but I'm being positive. You got to get a silver lining out of this thing, right? Oh, I love that. What's the silver lining here? The silver lining is we can look at it and say, wow, another one. How is this going to get bigger? I know people are out there going, you know what? I want this thing to be bigger. I want to see more people stealing from the stores. Did you see those people? Just grabbing all those goods out of the stores, and then people going, oh, well, they don't have a job, so I guess they're going to riot. You know, this living in this day and age is very tedious, because all it is deception after deception, lie after lie. I mean, let's get down to the basics here. You know, you can't go outside without government telling you what to do. You can't eat what you want anymore because you don't know what you're getting. The water sucks. You got chemtrails. You got, I mean, the world is basically not... I think we'd have been better off back in the 1800s. Well, better off back in 800 AD. The heck with all the, you know, at least the water was clean and they didn't have chemtrails. And they could go out and get their own food, and it wasn't full of GMOs and all that stuff. But anyway, I digress. So here we are again. We're on the verge of civil war. Is it going to be as bloody as the other one? I mean, come on. Remember brother fighting against brother? You think this is new in America? We're good at war. We're good at staging war, at creating things. We're good at these pandemics, planning all these false flags. And so I thought what I'd do is give you some oddities in this one. It's always fun to do. And, you know, look at this. Not only have the police and the mainstream media now admitted that at least Floyd's death was due to underlying medical conditions. Do we know he even died? Let's talk about this. The coroner in the case, right, is the same coroner, what's his name, Baden, who was the coroner in the Jeffrey Epstein case. You know, the guy who said Epstein managed to hang himself in a jail cell? Yeah, that's the coroner. So these guys, you know, get around, don't they? They're paid off. We don't know what happened. We don't even know. I can go back to, remember the Oklahoma City bombing and McVeigh? We had reports back then that he was, you know, there was a fake killing in the prison, right, when he was put to death, that he walked out of there, walked out of the back door, according to some FBI agents, and is leading a double life somewhere. Do we even know Epstein is dead? No. Who knows? So I'm telling you, people will believe anything. So let's look at the latest one, just for the fun of it, knowing that it's going to go nowhere, knowing that we keep doing the same thing, truth seekers. What are we going to do? We have to get some enjoyment out of this. I mean, the world's gone to hell in a handbasket, and pretty soon we're going to all have to get into that basket. And I wonder how big it is. You know, is it enough to fit all billions of people that are falling for this garbage? And here's what happens. Let's take one little case here and try to understand that if you watch the mainstream media for more than 10 seconds, I'm telling you something. Think of it this way, for enjoyment purposes only, entertainment purposes only, that they have an agenda. You can't listen to them anymore. Did you hear them in COVID-19? Now in this? I mean, it goes from one thing to another. And they're playing the left-right paradigm. Oh, the governors, the lords of the manor in all these democratic cities are not doing anything. So, Donald Trump is going to call out the military. And in numerous cities, they have curfews already. Well, who cares? People have stay-at-home orders. They don't care. They can't go anywhere anyway. Leave the looters out there to go shopping. Yeah, prices are good. Just break the window, take what you want, and leave. They're not going to do anything to you because all this is funded. Soros and his boys on the left have so many groups out there, Antifa, the rest of them. Trump wants to label them terrorist organization. Yeah, give me a break. These guys think we can believe this stuff? And here we are. This morning, I have to report, our Inside Georgetown report is really short but good. Director Luigi Franconi, Jesuit director of this second season of COVID-19 race riots, break out after people are at home and poor. So what they've done is they've written into the script now these race riots, and it's really working. I mean, people are glued to the TV set. Ratings were up yesterday. They were clapping. They had a little party early in the morning. They brought out free breakfast for everybody. You know, they weren't wearing masks. Nothing. I mean, we've got this place bugged, both audio and video. I can't play it, though. I tried to, but they took it down on YouTube, saying that it was not meeting their community standards and was hate speech. Yeah, everything's hate speech. What is hate speech? It's hate speech if you bring out the fact that there was a 666 painted on the garbage can nearby this fake incident they created. Now, the mainstream media, of course, is reporting this as it really happened. This guy died. He had pressure on his neck. He died from being choked by a knee, and that's what Baden says. But they were on there for hours telling you this. People still believe Sandy Hook really took place as it was told to you. 9/11 people believe it happened as the government told you. They believe COVID-19 happened as the government tells you. So what hope is there? Truth seekers? You know, all we do in this truth organization, this world that we've given, I love the people that say this. The reason these things are happening is because the people are waking up. No. It's not because the people are waking up. They've orchestrated this thing. They want you to wake up because they want you to realize you can't do anything about it. They don't care how many people on the internet wake up. What are you going to wake up to? Not going out anywhere? Curfews? These staged race riots? What else are they going to do? Basically, what they're doing, it's a slow death of America. They're bringing it down from within, and you think they're stepping up their plan because we've woken up. No. Look, 100 million people could wait, 300 million people could wake up, and it wouldn't make one bit of difference. They just have to basically, plan a little differently. Because people are not going to revolt. They're not going to do anything. They're going to listen. And those of us who realize this is a joke are going to have to basically go insane. Because who's going to follow you? You get what? You go to one show, they get 50 listeners. Another show gets 100 listeners. Another one gets 1,000. So, I mean, this is bits and pieces. They don't care. And then something goes viral. Or let's say somebody reads that this is strange. And let me use this as an example. Let's look at the oddities of this, George Floyd supposed murder by a white cop. Let's look at the oddities here. And There's a woman named Marianne Overbaugh. She put out a lot of them. I'm going to add a few of my own. But she said, let's look at the basics first. Now, George apparently attempted to make a purchase with a fake $20 bill. Okay? The clerk refused the money. Story over, right? George left without incident, but decided to hang out in front of the store, just standing around. Now, if a guy goes in with a fake $20 bill, you think he's going to stand around outside after the clerk may be on the phone calling? No. He's going to go try somewhere else or say, it didn't work. Over. In the meantime, just for practice, the clerk notified the police of the incident. Now, that's crazy. Now, think about this. How many clerks ever check a $20 bill? It's a $100 bill, they'll check it. But the police then rushed right over because, policemen in big cities are usually free to rush over immediately to check fake 20s from people who have already left the scene. Oh, yeah. Yeah, the guy's going to say, okay, did you take the money? No. Where is he? Oh, he's standing. Okay, we're going to call in the squat, the SWAT team to take poor George away for, trying to flip a $20 bill. I mean, you imagine how many 20s you've given in your life? I can imagine there's been a number of fake 20s that I've passed around, passed from me to somebody else, and nobody knows. It's all fake anyway. It's all Federal Reserve fake notes if you want to get down to it. There's no meaning behind them anyway. They're the only ones that can counterfeit the Fed. Now imagine their good fortune to find George still standing there. Yeah, George was, I'm waiting for the police. Well, that was his script. That's the big news today, folks. The big news is this. You think Inside Georgetown is just a fledgling publication? We've got the actual script from Luigi Franconi, which was written about 3 weeks ago. Writing this whole script here. Yep, we got a copy of it. We tried to put it on a YouTube, but they took it down, saying it was hate speech. So the director of the Jesuit show, the TV reality that you're an extra in, got paid $1,200. They may pay you another $1,200. Hey, we're making money at least off these fools, but not enough. They're they're making a killing thanks to Trump. Let me tell you, he's taking care of his boys because he's on the team, but he plays on the Trump team, the MAGA team. Then there's the globalist team, and at the top they all work together. So you got to get out of the dialectic. They got you if you sit there and watch Fox for an hour. Or even if you watch it for 5 minutes, they got you. And if you're one of these globalist freaks, they got you too if you watch CNN. I mean, either way, they got you. If you stay in this dialectic, if you get out of it, you have a hope, and you go, what's the hope? You could enjoy it like me. Sit up, go, when am I getting the heck out of America? Well, I already did. However, I'm stuck right now in Kansas in this replica Coliseum, still waiting for Molly the Pigeon. Yes, we communicate by pigeons. Slatsgrobnik, the general of the Second American Revolution, is at Georgetown getting a lot of this stuff. And his idea is the only way to win is to break their curse. Yes, they have a curse on America. It can be broken. He's gone to painstaking, at least the little I know. I'm waiting for the messenger pigeon to come back with my orders. We're on our way to Rome, which should be interesting. I got to get the heck out of Kansas. And that should be fun. I used to live there, so, I'm going to have a couple plates of spaghetti. Hopefully I can find a place where you don't have to wear a mask. And we're going to get some more trinkets to break this curse. So I'm waiting for the ones he collected in Georgetown. And in the meantime, I got a good Inside Georgetown report. Molly should be back. Hopefully she'll make it all the way from D.C. There's been a little bit of air. Hope she doesn't get hit. Fly high, Molly. Don't get hit by one of those bottles. They're throwing bottles. They're throwing things now. All these staged groups are out there being paid to go from town to protest. What a job, How much do they get, Do you want to be one? You can be a protester. Heck, they can't tell who you are. Some of them are wearing masks. I saw some without masks, so they're breaking something. One's breaking the stay-at-home order. The others, you can't identify, and will never get arrested, and they're stealing everything. Breaking windows, breaking into banks. They burned down a police station. 4 police officers in St. Louis were shot. This is what we're hearing on the mainstream. 7 others were shot somewhere else. We're hearing now that it could be civil war and the army's coming out. Oh, it should be fun. I'm having a ball here. I want a front row seat. Because I'm not a part of this game. That's what the dialectic means. To get out of it, to look at it, say, boy, this is crazy. And they've been doing this, they've done it over and over again. My feeling is this. Get it over with, guys. But then, they even address this situation in the Georgetown pre-meeting for their, they have to have meetings like they do in this, in Hollywood. And they give the scripts to the actors, Trump and the rest of the boys, every day. And they did address something, because we have the thing bugged with a mechanical fly. They did say something interesting. They said this. They said, can we just drop a bomb and blow up the whole country and just get it over with and declare, this is now a different country and it's in the New World Order? And everybody laughed and said, no, that'll just, we got to milk this thing. We got great ratings. That's not a good scenario. I mean, there's enough of those movies out there with Will Smith. Remember that one? The whole world was over? That's no fun. This is more fun, watching the peasants run around like ants in a cage or rats in a cage. We can milk this for all it's worth. Look at the ratings the last 6 days with these riots, he said. They're higher than they've ever been. Okay. And then somebody raised their hand, Dr. Fauci, and he said, I want a bigger part. Shut up, Fauci. You've drank enough blood in the last month or so. He's upset. He's off the front page. But these guys are, making money hand over fist. They're the only show in town. I mean, Hollywood stopped, but those actors, do you think they care? They got billions of dollars in their pocket. Go where they want. I'm sure they're on their private jets somewhere. So here we go. We're in the middle of I'm going to come back and give you some more oddities on the script that we got, yes, from inside Georgetown. Our crack investigative team pulled the script on this George Floyd murder, which is actually a false flag, and we think that, it didn't say in the script, but we don't think he's even dead. Or if he is dead, he's a sacrifice to the gods. They do that. You remember in the old days in the Vikings, the old days in the Vikings, okay? Just an example. They would basically take a person, and if it was a real big deal and they had to win a big war or something, they may sacrifice a person to win the war. The ends justify the means, right? Well, they do it today in these manners. They may have sacrificed him, may have done it on purpose, who knows? Or they may have faked the death and then let him go and did a fake sacrifice. You see, they have those now. They didn't have them in the Viking days. Those were real live killings, burning at the stake, cutting their head off, slitting their throat, all for the gods. In fact, every 9 years, they went to, what was the place? Upala? And they sacrificed 9 of everything. 9 was a big number for them. 33 is a big number for the Jesuits and the occult now. You'll see it all over the place. 33. Interesting. 33,000 emails. You ever think about that? Oh, boy, they have a lot of symbology, don't they? Back in 3 minutes on the Investigatore Giornale.
The book of Revelation says, the spirit of prophecy is the testimony of Jesus Christ. This is at the very heart of FirstAmendmentRadio.com. In that spirit, we have created the Prophecy Reality News app for all of your mobile devices, streaming First Amendment radio 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Available for your Apple, Android device, and smartphone, absolutely free. Get the Prophecy Reality News app installed today so you can listen to First Amendment radio wherever you are. The Prophecy Reality News app. Get it now.
Visit crosstheborder.org, C-R-O-S-S, crosstheborder.org, to get your print, EPUB, or PDF version of Nicholas Arthur's new book titled When the Third Temple is Built. That's crosstheborder.org. When it comes to prophecy today, much of the evangelical Christian world has their eyes on Israel, waiting and watching to see when the third temple will begin to be built. The plans are drawn, the Jewish people are eager. Most evangelical Christians today believe that the rapture will happen before the third temple is built. Hi, I'm Michael Eugene. I was taught that Daniel's 70th week was in the future. Is that really what the Bible teaches? Have we searched the scriptures and found this to be true? Why is it so important for a re-established Israel to build a third temple in Jerusalem? Is it necessary to build a temple on the same location already occupied by the Dome of the Rock? Is it necessary for sacrifices to take place in the temple on Temple Mount? Is there really a rapture followed by 7 years of tribulation? What is the New Testament temple? Can we identify history and prophecy? Who is the first beast in Revelation chapter 13? Who are the 7 kings in Revelation 17? I have asked all these questions, and I have found Nicholas Arthur's new book, When the Third Temple is Built, answers all these questions and more using Scripture to interpret Scripture. The Bible says that no prophecy of Scripture is of any private interpretation. Nicholas shows us in his new book, When the Third Temple is Built, how the Bible interprets prophecy and not man's private interpretation. Visit crosstheborder.org, C-R-O-S-S, crosstheborder.org, to get your print, EPUB, or PDF version of Nicholas Arthur's new book titled When the Third Temple is Built. That's crosstheborder.org.
The following program is labeled dangerous and off limits by the supreme Jesuit command. But stand tall, people. Listen up, and you may just learn something.
Oh, dear Lord Jesus, this ain't happening, man. This can't be happening, man. This ain't happening.
Okay, boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen, people of all races, colors, and creeds. Yes, welcome back to the greatest show on earth. We don't mess around here. Go ahead, listen to CNN. Listen to Alex Jones. Listen to Fox. They're all one and the same. They just take it from a different angle. They'll lead you down the wrong rabbit hole. You'll be stuck forever. And you know, I want to know where that rabbit hole goes. Greg Anthony here, the greatest show on earth, because we're better than listening to the Pope doing an exorcism and the devil saying, hey, that's the pot calling the kettle black. We're better than listening to our fellow Americans say, you know, stay 6 feet away and don't breathe. Hey, nobody cares. Look at all the protests out there. Everybody's like running around right next to each other. They're not even adhering to the stay-at-home order. I think there's a problem. Okay, it's better than listening to Fox and CNN give you the same old truth stories that are stranger than fiction. They actually believe this. For $20 million, you'd say anything too, wouldn't you? And you know, just as an aside, again, I listen to one of these stations, and they go, you know, today was Mickey Mouse's birthday. I tell you, this mouse gets around. I hate this mouse. It's a rodent. It's a fake rodent. You think America's got problems. That's what we care about? Celebrating a rodent who doesn't even exist? His birthday? And then Disneyland is closed anyway. And when it opens, how are you going to go there? You got to stay like a mile away from each person? The government said, we can go to the restaurant. You know, you got 8,000 people in every city going crazy, breaking into restaurants. But when you go, you got to adhere to like 17 pages of rules. You know, only 3 people in the restaurant that seats 100. You know, stay 1 mile away. wear your mask, and you can't take it off even when you're eating soup. How are you going to swallow the soup without your mask on? Isn't that insane? Then the girl who's waiting on you, has got goggles on. She's got a mask. Then your table is like in a bubble, like the bubble boy on Seinfeld, right? We're all in a bubble. This is insane. But people are going to listen to it. And I'm telling you, if you now, like we learned at Inside Georgetown, this great publication that's taking the place of Inside Hollywood since they're not doing anything now, we've got the script for this George Floyd death. Yeah, it's been scripted. They had this in their play, in their reality show. They picked out George Floyd, and they picked out the policeman. They were friends. Did you realize this? They worked together as security guards in a nightclub. So you think this guy's going to kill him? For a $20 bill? He's going to say, George, what the heck's going on? You make enough money. This is, come on. Are we going to believe this? But this is in the script that they're not allowing you to hear on the mainstream news. Just a few of us get it. So what are we going to do with it, right? What are we going to do with it? So anyway, in the meantime, so we got George in the script. This is from director Luigi Franconi. We got the written script here. Listen to this. It's the only place you're going to get it. Oh, it's been circulated a little bit on the internet. But anyway, so George basically tried to this is in the script, George is to try to take a 20 and fake it, then wait outside for the police officers to come who are being called by the clerk, who never checks 20s, right? But this time in this scene, he's checking it. But imagine then it says, to the good fortune to find George still there when the police arrive. And that's what most people do, after being caught trying to do a $20 bill, a counterfeit bill, right? They put that in there laughingly in their script, right? Just walk outside and stand there. But this is the movies. They can do anything, right? George was just admiring the scenery, something like that. And they told him, they said, George, stand there like you're confused. That was in the script. Don't you find it odd that these two men, this is in there, they're writing this, that Derek and George may have known each other well? They used to work together for years, apparently. Yeah, they did at this nightclub as security guards. And in the script, it says it won't be odd because people won't know it. And then the people that say it will be called conspiracy theorists. But they want to use George, and they want to use this Mr. What's his name? I'll get to his name in a minute, the police officer, because they do know each other, and they want to fuel conspiracy theories so that they can basically denounce them. Yeah, that's how they work. And people go, well, these people over there don't know anything. They're stupid. We can't believe that. We have to believe Sean Hannity and Fox News. And we have to believe Cuomo, Mario Cuomo Live or Prime Time, the brother of the governor of New York. But anyway, now they got a cop, his hands, now we find it odd that the cop here, because this is in the script, and I'm just adding a few, that his hands are in his pocket while he puts his knee on his friend's neck. Don't you find it odd that they did not put him in the back seat of the cop car like they normally do? But this is reality TV. They got to hype it up, right? They were literally standing right next to the door. You don't throw the guy on the ground, or just put him in the back. I find it odd. The guy wasn't even a threat. And don't you find it odd that you couldn't get, he wasn't able to get air to yell out repeatedly for a very long period of time and did not struggle to live? He was just laying there like a cat, like a dead cat. Why didn't he call for help with all those people standing around? He had cops standing around, people filming him. He just laid there and passively died. This was in the script. And I'm looking at it, I'm checking, and I'm going, they had to be doing this for a reason. Keep her, but let's look. I find it, you know, it's also odd they just stood there and let the people film this thing. He had one film, and it was right from the corner. You couldn't see much on the other side, just the knee, etc. And it's odd because that video's everywhere and so easily accessible when other videos of the murder are removed or censored. Why? Well, doesn't tell their story in the reality show they want. And it's odd that most of Derek's weight, that's the police officer, Derek Chauvin, is on his right knee, not his left, the one on the ground, not the left knee on his friend. It would be the other way around, wouldn't it? And isn't it odd the paramedics arrived on the scene, approached so nonchalantly, then placed Derek, very much alive, George, Derek's friend George, into the ambulance without any sign of urgency. They didn't try to revive him. No, this is in the script, you know, and they did it for a reason this way. And I find it odd that Derek's neighbors, you know, you get a better death scene in these detective movies, you know. When they do a scene, you know, like on Hawaii Five-0 or what's in, you know, or Code Red, or I don't know, these detective shows, when they have murder scenes, they actually look real. This one didn't. And I think they do that so that conspiracy theorists can have a ball, and then all the people that don't believe them say, see, these guys don't believe anything. This really did happen. Anything can happen. Sure, anything can happen. Remember the time that Gary Webb, the journalist who was hot on the trail of Bill Clinton and all his drug-dealing cronies in Mena, Arkansas, and all the murders there, that he was pronounced dead, committing a suicide, shooting himself twice in the back of the head? Yeah, anything can happen. And most people believe that. How about the coroner and the Clinton going way back? In the Clinton cases, where they finally had to get rid of him because they were getting suspicious. They found a guy that knew a lot about Clinton's love affairs and his coke dealing and all this stuff. So they had to get rid of him. So they found him in a duffel bag in a few pieces, and the coroner said he committed suicide. Try to kill yourself and put yourself in a duffel bag and cut your arms off or something. I guess it can happen. But don't you find it odd that just this whole thing... Now, I find it odd. Derek's neighbors, they didn't even know he was a police officer. They never saw him wearing a uniform coming and going. Whether they just decide to join the police force when he got hired as the actor here? I don't know. Anything can happen, folks. But also it's odd that this just happened right after the COVID-19 fear part of the whole TV show. Just kind of was dying out. People were like, you know, listen, this is going to be over, don't worry. Yeah. So all of this is kind of scripted, right? You can see it. Social distancing suddenly flew out the window, right? Wasn't a big story anymore. People were getting tired of it, so Luigi Franconi, the director, pushed the riots, right? And let's hope the masks, you know, the fear soon follows. They're figuring people are going to just say, forget it, I ain't wearing this mask anymore. I mean, there's so much information on masks that are dangerous, that's dangerous for you. I don't even bother talking to these people anymore. I can't. I mean, I'll let them wear it. Kill yourself for all I care. But doesn't it odd also that the COVID thing happened right after the impeachment happened? And the impeachment happened right after the Russian hoax failed. There's a pattern here, right? Everything seems to be a pattern. They're doing a show. It's like watching a reality show, and it is one. And are you going to continue believing this? Yes, you will. People will. You know, people will believe it. Believe it, believe it. They will believe it. Or what will make you stop and look for the truth? You know, the truth is very elusive, but at least we give you some, what we talk about here, even if you consider it fiction, there are possibilities. You know, what they're doing here with this one example, it isn't possible this can happen this way, but people believe it. And that's the situation we are in right now. Let me go through some things here, just to have some fun, to tell you where we're at and why it's so darn confusing and why it's never going to change. Because this is just one giant psyops, and everybody's going to believe it except for a few people. Right. And listen to the stories that you have to put up with. Democrat mayors are admitting that terrorists have taken over the protests. Huh? Yeah. Good. What are they going to do about it? UK government lambasted for lockdown sex ban. So we got lockdowns, we got sex bans. What is the 5 incoming asteroids this week? That's another story that's out there. There aren't even any asteroids, perhaps. I don't even think there's space, perhaps. I don't even think the world is round, perhaps. But can those things, wow, when NASA says something, you got to believe it, even though it's not possible for some of the things they tell you. It's all these theories on a blackboard, but they tell you exactly how everything is. So we got asteroids coming in. People are going to believe that. How about this one? Rioting terrorists you must look at these things. Now they leave, you see, this is what's so troubling to me. They leave all this stuff regarding, these terrorists on the news, and they allow that, but they don't allow you to even put on a video that says there was a 666 garbage can, number 666, in the George Floyd killing, because that is hate speech. But these guys can yell and scream and hit people. I was watching them kick everybody. Oh, that's okay. It's okay for Bill Gates to get on and, say, I want to kill everybody with vaccines that aren't even safe. That's okay. But you want to say anything against Bill? You can't. Not in this world. Now, what's another one that's out there? Bill Gates' web of dark money and influence. Oh, really? The pandemic pattern, how the illusion is built. Well, how is it built? How is the illusion built? It's pretty simple. We got a lot of gullible people who believe any damn thing, right? They'll believe anything. I could tell them that, what's the old one? Oceanfront property in Arizona. They believe it, I'd say, jump off the bridge, you will not get COVID virus. Yes, they'll do it. Okay, so some guy wrote an article. I'm going to read it. He said, this article is based on my study and investigation of the so-called epidemics over the past 30 years. In the case of COVID-19, I've written at least one piece covering in detail each main element of the illusion. Here I'm laying out the pattern. It is the same for each fake epidemic. 1. The structures in place to promote or launch an idea of an epidemic. 2. There is a purported incident, an outbreak. 3. There's no airtight chain of evidence explaining exactly how the purported virus was discovered. 4. Who CDC tells the world this is an epidemic. 5. Diagnostic tests for the unproven new virus are rolled out. See, I've got the COVID virus, hoof and mouth disease again. 6. Thus, all case numbers and death numbers, which are based on tests, are rendered meaningless. 7. Nevertheless, these tests are used to build official reports on case numbers. 8. Real people are really getting sick and dying, but for most part, they are people who are dying from traditional deaths, like we always die. You've heard you come into this world alone, you get out of it alone. That's right. And here, I've been thinking, today I woke up, I said, how long am I going to do this show? I really don't know. I've got another network that wants me to do a daily show. And I'm thinking about it, and I'm going, I'm going to make a decision in the next 30 days whether to quit. And just not quit, but just say goodbye. And people are going, good, we don't have to listen to his garbage anymore. But you know why? Because it's the same old thing over and over again. And it's not going to go anywhere. And I feel sometimes like an idiot. I don't know if you feel that way. I don't know if the people that write what I'm reading here feel that way. I'm sure we all know. I mean, you can give me all these 9 or 10 things about COVID-19, and I appreciate John Rappaport for doing that. Yeah, but what is it? What is it? We know that. What else are we going to do? So would it be better just to forget about it? I mean, depending on what stage you are in this truth-seeking battle, you know, at my stage, I'm at the end of the rope here because I don't know what else I could say. And it's, you know, you get a little tired of getting all your stuff taken down. It's going to get worse. And then you get a few listeners, and then you read a story that the mainstream does, and they get 8 million listeners, right? But anyway, it's interesting. People actually pay for listeners. I checked out this because I said, how come some people get more? Now, if you're George Soros, or if you're working for the boys, you know, the Jesuit boys, you can afford this. But there's companies out there will give you 200 fake listeners for like $10, 1,000. So I can do a video right now, and if I had $1,000, I can make it seem like there were like 800,000 people listening. And stupid people will then say, oh, everybody must love this. Let's listen. That's what happens. I mean, what is the sense of it all? And so I'm thinking, you know, maybe I'll announce retirement or something, you know. Retire for what? Just to watch? I mean, I can enjoy watching all this stuff without bumping my gums every day and saying basically, you know, I was talking about the Hegelian dialectic 20 years ago. And there's a few more people talking about it, but what good has it done? It gets worse. More people join the Trump team. More people join this team. So it really doesn't matter. And I can tell you this. It's going to get to the point where nobody's going to be able to do this anyway. So let's see. We're at 8. Real people are getting sick in this pandemic. But then again, they're dying from normal things like they always die. You know, I told you, I summed it up in the beginning. The first or second day, I said this guy was walking down the street, and a pig, 300 pounds, all of them, fell from a rooftop and killed him, and he was labeled a COVID virus death just because he was thinking about it, maybe. And that's about how much sense this whole thing made. But 9 is, we got 9 things here. Oh, we got a lot more. Well, this is good. If there's a new illness, it can be explained by causes having nothing to do with this COVID virus. 10, overtime. The definition of the epidemic is arbitrarily widening to include more symptoms and clinical features in order to inflate case numbers. Yeah, everybody's got it, right? 11, control information about the epidemic is hardened at the top. You got to control it. Listen to Fox. They tell you the truth. You know, Rupert Murdoch's been a scoundrel of the Knights of Malta, Jesuit Vatican New World Order ever since, you know, I can remember in the 70s when he bought the Sun-Times in Chicago, and Mike Royko, a great journalist, said, I quit. And he said, and they asked him, Mike, why are you quitting? He said, no respectable fish would be ever wrapped in a Rupert Murdoch newspaper. It tells you what this guy is, and you believe him, you MAGA people. 11, control of information about the epidemic, right? Then 12, medical drugs used to treat patients are toxic. Yeah. If the vaccine is rolled out, it too is toxic. Okay, 13, above all the illusions, the main deception is the epidemic is one disease or syndrome caused by one germ. This is sold with unceasing propaganda. The mainstream will do it left and right. Both, you know, it's interesting, but CNN and Fox are always bickering. They're bickering, but they all agree that this is one elusive germ. But yet they don't like the way Trump's dealing with it, and Fox doesn't like the way CNN and the globalists are dealing with it. Oh, my God, are they idiots, aren't they? But people buy it. They listen. This is sold with unceasing propaganda, this whole deception. 14, the public has sold a lie after lie about contagion and the spread of it. So people believe it, and it's not even possible. That's why I mean the truth is so strange. 15, the public chants as if one has ever died before. People are dying. It must be the virus. The virus fairy tale, 16, always functions as a cover story for government or corporate medical crimes. It obscures and hides these crimes. For example, a large factory is spewing horrendous pollution into the ground and water in an area, and people are getting sick and dying. No, the cause is actually the new virus. They're spraying chemtrails since the 90s, and people are getting sick, but no, it's COVID virus. This is an illusion. The only difference, it's 2020, right? I mean, this has all been that way. This is what the West Nile virus was, SARS, swine flu, Zika, and keep going. This is a big one, though. They wanted to see if they could lock the whole world down, and they did. I mean, it's interesting, isn't it? But anyway, I'd like to say this to you. If there is a purpose for going on with a radio show, it doesn't lie in all the things I just talked about. There's so many people doing it out there. I mean, you can get it anywhere. And most people that listen either are shocked and don't turn this thing off right away, that don't have any idea of what's going on, or people listen because they want to feel as if they're being justified. Their thoughts are being also echoed by somebody else, like me. But the real key that's always been discussed on this show that gets lost in all this is the historical importance of how we've been misled from the beginning of this country and even way before it. And so the key is looking at some of the scholars on the Masonic side that are telling you what they are, one being Manly P. Hall, and they tell you who they are and what they're doing, and then also going back in history and seeing how this thing laid out. And I think that's a key, because I tell you, that gives you some grounding, because going over all these things daily, it's like deja vu all over again. But what's not deja vu is really understanding the historical significance and how they've misled you. This secret cabal, the Vatican Jesuit-led New World Order, has been doing it for hundreds of years. And that, to me, is the only thing worth doing anymore. What do you think? Well, I'll be back tomorrow for sure on the Investigatore Giornale. Off key, but still here.
The book of Revelation says, the spirit of prophecy is the testimony of Jesus Christ. This is at the very heart of FirstAmendmentRadio.com. In that spirit, we have created the Prophecy Reality News app for all of your mobile devices, streaming First Amendment Radio 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Available for your Apple, Android device, and smartphone, absolutely free. Get the Prophecy Reality News app installed today so you can listen to First Amendment Radio wherever you are. The Prophecy.
Since the beginning of time, kings have sought it, nations have fought for it. It has been traded, it has been borrowed, it has been purchased, it has been stolen. There's a reason for it. To secure the blessings of liberty to ourselves and to our posterity. Invest with the security of gold and silver. Call Discount Gold and Silver Trading at 1-800-375-4188 or visit discountgoldandsilvertrading.net. Listen to Financial Survival with your host Melody Cedarstrom right here on FirstAmendmentRadio.com at 4 p.m. Eastern or 1 p.m. Pacific Time. Visit discountgoldandsilvertrading.net or call Discount Gold and Silver Trading at 1-800-375-4188. Toll free 1-800-375-4188.